You had navigated the cave using the power of teamwork and friendship, overcame the denizens of the dark. Well, that and high explosives. That helped a lot too. There was a twist at the end, finding a former contact, Whistling Joe. You had worked with him to try to resolve the issue of who was blocking the construction of a railway. But now it seems like things have changed in his life as well as yours, as you found him leading some sort of gang that was looking for high-valued relics from the past. Your NPC friend, Rattan, Natty, warned you guys about him and said that he just would probably see you guys as marked now because the equipment that you had, the old world equipment, and Deha, being a man of action, used the last high-powered explosive to atomize most of the gang that Whistling Joe was leading. The last you saw of him, he was galloping to the north, away from your camp. We pick up this week, shortly after that, after a little hunting session, and kind of securing the camp and taking an inventory of things. Night is quickly falling, and it is, well, let me get the weather up. So I've used this app called Fantasy Calendar to pre-generate a year's worth of weather. You guys are in the middle of summer. It's hot out. There's a light breeze, and looks like black clouds are rolling in from the south, and it seems like you're gonna have rain.
Black clouds are rolling in from the south. Seems like we're gonna have rain.
It's real observant.
Yes.
Thanks, says Albert.
Do we want to stay here in camp, or do we want to take the chance to move to a better area?
I don't know about y'all, but I could use a little bit of a nap, says Albert.
I'd rather get a bath first. We are still covered in all of this bat guano, and I'd feel much better if I were clean.
Same, says Albert.
I'm going to look around for a water source.
Sure, give me a survival roll.
Bucket or brook.
A bucket of... Alright.
That is an 18 plus something. Plus 2. So, 20.
20. You remember that there was that creek in the cave that was winding its way through the depths of it. So you kind of take a clue from that and head south a little bit, and about 15 minutes from the camp, you find the exit of that river. And it is just as cold as it was in the cave, but in the red light of the setting sun, it takes on a more inviting hue.
Nyx is gonna clean up, but she's gonna keep her head on a swivel.
Okay, roll me perception.
Oh, really good rolls. That is 23.
As you're bathing, you catch out of the corner of your eye a mountain lion about 100 feet from you downstream. You realize that you're upwind of it, so it hasn't smelled you yet, and it's lapping up water from this stream.
Nyx is just gonna freeze, and then keeping her face towards it, she's just gonna slowly back away.
Give me a stealth roll.
Not so great. That is 7.
7. So as you are slinking away, but as you put your... we're going with human feet, right? Or she's got cat feet?
Yes. Kind of a hybrid between
that's
human
right.
and feline feet.
You got the toe beans, but it's like human shape, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you put your padded foot down, you wince as you hear a crack of a dried branch. The mountain lion looks up and spins and flees back into the grass.
Okay. Then Nyx is just going to stand there for a minute and then edge back into the water and finish cleaning herself.
There is some crawdads in the water there, and they remind you vaguely of the ones that you saw in the cave. But unlike the cave ones, these are not albinos.
Can they be caught by hand? Nyx is gonna snatch at one.
Okay, yeah, give me a sleight of hand.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, decent roll. And then 19.
So you strike with lightning speed and are able to pluck one out of the water the same way one would pluck a cherry from a tree. It to the bystander, it would look like an effortless act, unless they were to attempt it, in which they would find just how difficult it actually was. Okay, so it's just hanging out in your hand now, Mr. Pinchy, just pinching away at the air. Albert, what are you doing back at camp? Teja is off hunting, and Nyx is going to get cleaned up.
Albert's going to sit down with their rattan friend to ask some questions.
Little mousefolk woman traces you with their eyes. Her large, round mouse ears on a swivel and tail curled around her back. She has it on her lap, and she is kind of cleaning it off.
So you've been here before?
Well, no, I only read about this place, and from what I found, it used to be an old coal mine, but once they started to hit the black iron, things started to go bad for them. People started disappearing in the night, equipment would be lost, and it just became unprofitable for them to keep running it, so they ended up shutting it down. There wasn't any sort of official documentation about it. It was mostly just journals that I put together, and they attributed it to angry spirits and messing with the dead, and kind of just started telling ghost stories about the place. But I had some feelings about it, so well, it looked like I was right.
Indeed, says Albert, and while she's doing this, he's like combing through his fur, picking out pieces of guano and pebbles and rocks and tossing them aside. How did you run afoul of them exactly? The folks who chased you in here.
Oh, Whistling Joe and his gang? Well, I had been researching in Harshaw, and I needed to field an expedition. I wanted to see if my intuition was right, and see what I could find down here, if it was an actual old world ruin, or if it was just more wastelander talk.
And
so I started asking around, and he seemed to know this area, and he had some guys who were willing to, not afraid to get their hands dirty, and we struck up a deal. They would help finance the thing and provide labor, and I would be their guide for it.
As a professional treasure hunter, what would you say your assessment is of this place now that you've been in there?
Well, I mean, danger comes with the territory, so I think I don't need to speak too much about that. But it seems active. The machines that were in the main chamber, the bat cave part of it, where seemed well up until recently. You all caused quite a commotion when you first breached, and I turned tail and put as much distance between you and the battle as I could. But after that had been settled, it looked like there is quite a bit active down there.
Agreed on that, Sans. I don't want to think about it right now, says Albert, thinking back on everything that happened in the cave. But will you ever return here with a different crew, a bit more?
Oh, most definitely. I think it'd be worth a second round to plumb the depths and overcome those machines. I'm sure whatever secrets they're guarding, they are worthwhile. Otherwise, why would they be guarding it, right?
Says Albert, thinking about that. I... Well, I'm about 98% certain that I lost my job in Harshaw after our mental imprisonment.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. You're sort of a person of some legend now. Once the HAPD caught wind of what they assumed to be both your and Nick's death during that rail accident, it really put them on a fast track, if you pardon the pun, to success. You are kind of their poster child for the commitment to the jobs that they do now. They can say that our people are willing to go off and die to take on these crimes and mysteries. So I'm kind of curious what you're doing still above ground.
Albert sighs. He takes off his boots and starts massaging his feet, picking out the guano from between his toes. And he says, have you ever, when you've been in Harshaw more recently than me, you heard in the last year about Detective McGruff?
Yeah, although I don't think he's with any sort of affiliate right now.
Really?
He passed through Harshaw, and he was. I didn't really get what his job, what he was following up on, but he seemed like he had caught the scent of blood and was heading to the.
Oh, Albert scampers forward, suddenly eschewing his cleaning practices, and getting very up close to her, and says, "What are you going where? On the trail of what?"
All right. What? I think he was going to White Sands. I guess there's been some bad incidences of people using enchantment magic to wipe the memories of people and make them forget and not know who they are.
That sounds very familiar, says Albert, looking to the side for a second and scratching the black nodule on his temple.
Sorry, I don't mean to get too close to home there, but that's the word on the street I heard.
So he was in town?
He was just passing through.
Recently?
I'd say about 8 months ago.
Oh, says Albert. He sighs and sits back. White Sands, eh? He mulls this over for a bit as he strokes his tail and then preens his ears. Do you know how far we are from there?
Yeah. Gosh, we're about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
On horseback.
Huh.
Although one could take the river south and maybe catch a boat heading that direction from Sulphur. It might be a little bit longer of a journey, but it'd be a heck of a lot easier.
Steam, ferry, or row?
It depends on how much money you got.
Shit, says Albert.
But most ships departing from Sulphur are cargo freighters. They're taking a lot of alchemical goods from the swamps and rare woods and herbs and whatnot, and taken into the city. Disease is pretty bad, and they're always looking to replace the hands that they've lost along the way. So,
well, I got two, says Albert, but White Sands, he says to himself again. I don't really. I don't know what to make of this poster child business in Harshaw. To be honest, I could give less of a damn about what people think of something that I failed at.
What do you mean that you failed at?
I don't think we succeeded at our mission here in the slightest. I don't recall ever finding... We found out what happened to those skeletons, but we never apprehended the culprit.
Well, that's true, but you made your company look... You made the company look good, and they were able to leverage the defeat into a victory to get their name out.
1,000 rattlesnakes on that dig-blasted company. I don't give a damn what happens to them. They left us to die so that they could get better PR. They don't care about nothing but the money in their pockets and the crooks in their jails. They don't care about what mysteries really lie underneath this world.
So you thinking about going independent?
Independence, says Albert. Oh, he strokes his chin. Albert Schnooks, P.I.
And at this time, you hear a hollow thud as a deer carcass is dropped into camp, and Teja is short to follow as he's returned successful from a hunting trip.
Greetings, friends. Looks like we'll have extra meat for meals going forward for a little while.
That's a lot of meat.
Well, that'll do a lot better than the snake sketty that they got brewing. I've never seen something where the water turns milky like that. It's just not right. I don't think these people really knew how to cook. Actually, I know they didn't know how to cook.
I would agree, looking at that pot.
I don't want to look at it, says Albert. I don't know if I want to look at that either, looking at the deer carcass.
So Natty gets the pot and just dumps it out away from camp.
I think I need a bath. I don't know if I've done a good job with this preen and not used to living away from a brass tub.
Shepard looks around and says, I am glad I do not need to eat. What a burden.
Well, it's a burden, but it's also a gift, Shepard, says Albert. My pa used to say, eat to live, eat to give.
I see. Another beautiful words of wisdom. I will make a note. And about this time, Nyx returns back to camp, crawdad in hand.
Hey, Albert.
Still alive.
Albert, I got you a snack. He just holds out the squirming crawdad to his face. Here you go.
He like bats it aside for a second before realizing what it is. Oh,
It's a crawdad. It's your favorite.
Oh, anybody got some hot butter?
I don't know if the
No, I'm sorry.
I don't know if the fellers in this camp were the kind to have butter.
If only we had more of that bat milk, says Albert.
All right. You know what, Albert? We've been through a lot together, but I would really appreciate it. I would consider it a personal favor if you never talk about that bat milk incident ever again.
I'll try my hardest, says Albert kind of absent-mindedly.
Because then I am positive that 15 years down the road, in the dead of night, the image of you milking a bat into your mouth will wake me. So the less I can think about it, the better.
Hey, you're clean, he says, looking you up and down. Did you find a creek?
Yeah, there's a creek round about that way. There was a mountain lion that I ran into.
Still there?
It ran away into the brush, but I didn't really get a good look at it. I just kind of waited it out. You know, we kind of have an understanding.
Shepard, you don't need to bathe. Could you come watch my back while I get rid of this poop?
Yes, of course.
And then after y'all are done, I'll take my turn.
I'll see you later, amigos, says Albert, walking off, his tail swishing behind him. And save some crawdad for me!
Wait.
Oh.
You left your crawdad. You wanna...
I'll eat it when I come back.
You wanna take it? Okay. Well, now what am I supposed to do with this? And Nick starts looking around for a bucket.
Natty has come back with the empty iron cauldron that had a bunch of boiled snakes in it. Well, if you want to boil them up, we can use this.
All right.
And as Albert departs, Shepard gets uncomfortably close and just keeps his eyes fixed directly on Albert's back, almost to the point of keeping marching
Albert,
lockstep.
you see like the fur on the back of Albert's back like stand up.
I have your back.
Well,
watching it.
You know what? Thanks, he says, and he just continues walking.
Okay. Shepard, unaware, gives you less than 6 inches of space as he does a diligent job of keeping an eye on your back. So as Natty's kind of prepping this crawdad, she turns to Nyx and says, so what's your story, Nyx? I've heard some rumors about you from the HAPD that you used to be a detective with them, and they thought that you died during that train wreck.
Yeah, I noticed. They thought I died, and I'm really a little salty about that because, you know, they didn't bother to send anybody to recover my body, dead or alive, and yeah, I had to get myself out, didn't I? Well, I would say that the detective thing, that was just a temporary job. It's not my calling. I can't say as it's something that I want to do forever.
Well, I suppose all jobs are temporary one way or another.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
With this uncharted road ahead of you, well, what are you thinking now?
Well, you know, since I've only been out long enough to take a little cruise around the sky and wash up, I haven't really thought too far ahead beyond, you know, filling my belly, maybe making a little bit of money, and getting a good night's sleep.
I spent nearly a week in that cave, and thinking about what I was going to do when I got out was one of the only things that really helped me get through it.
I mean, I might have given it some thought when we weren't, you know, fighting giant cubes that wanted to eat us, or rats that wanted to eat us, no offense, or giant spores that wanted to kill us, or, you know, any of those other things that were really threatening dangers, so.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but at the end of the day, they're just animals trying to get along in the world, just like us.
It's true. It's true. So, you said you put a lot of thought into it. What did you come to? What kind of conclusions?
At least those animals have a good reason for wanting to eat us.
It's true.
Can't say the same for other folk. Well, and I guess this goes for you as well, Teha. This tech that you guys had come across is a bit of a windfall. And I can see a lot of fame and a lot of money to be made from it if we can get it into the right hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking we make our way to either Harshaw or White Sands and we cash in. And then from there, well, who knows?
Well, Nettie, I can understand your thinking on that. My concern is that the tech that we do have that could be used for goods, specifically these small white containers that seem to have various healing abilities or helpful abilities. If we were to give those to someone, I would want to make sure that they are truly out there to help people, not just to make money.
Yeah, but you know how those things work. They got one use in them and they're done. So what? We help one injured person, we help one grieving widow, or we can take it to town and we can sell it and we can live like royalty. And it's gonna get used one way or another. It's just one way we end up poor and the other way we're rich.
Which, again, I can understand your thinking, Natty. But what if we could find someone who could look at these and reproduce them and start maybe selling them for a small cost to multiple people? If we do that, then one, we're helping a great many, and two, to your point of money would keep coming in from each one that is purchased.
Well, I'm all for that if we can find somebody both capable and willing to pay what they're worth, then I don't care. That sounds like a good deal. And if we're going to find somebody like that, I'd say maybe we start with White Sands.
I would be okay with this. At some point, since we have been down here for apparently so long, I would want to send at least a message back to my people to make sure that nothing has befallen them in the time since I've departed.
I have to do the same thing, and how far away is White Sands? Isn't it like a 2 or 3 week trip from here?
Yeah, it's a journey.
But Harshaw
so I've just switched you guys over to the world map, and you can use the distance tool, and it measures in days.
Oh, nice.
So these are accurate. So you can kind of plot out, where you want to go how you want to do it. The railroads are obviously railroads. The red dots are trade routes that are frequented by caravans, and yeah, I'll explain the rest as we go. But just for some reference, there's a port called Shaw's Landing, 3 days to the south of you guys, 3 days ride. And if you continue, you can get a boat from there and go to Sulphur, which is a actual trading port. That hub that takes whatever can be harvested from the bayou there, the swamp, and ships it to the other coastal cities. And you could also go north, I guess, along the river. Maybe you could catch a riverboat. Sorry, I don't want to like throw too many my solutions at you.
No,
guys.
it's good. It's because we don't actually know as players. We don't know what our characters. I know that Nyx would know this area really well.
Okay.
So
there's riverboats that go both down and up this river. Think of it like the Mississippi as far as like the trade and the size of it. So you could catch a boat going north and go to Harsha that way. You could go overland. You could try scaling the cliffs and then going straight towards White Sands, or you could go along the river, like make a raft or something, and do that. The advantage of using the river is you're always working towards a long rest, because you're not exerting yourself during travel. But when you're traveling, you can't get a long rest until you camp out for a week.
Okay. DM, as a out of character question, which direction did Whistlin' Joe and the other individual who escaped the blast, which direction did they ride? Like what town?
They were heading north, and you know of a place called Gallows Branch, where it's not so much a site of civilization, but a place of I guess like the broad stroke would be a ritual sacrifice, but it's where they hang river bandits. So it's a large dead tree that looms over the water, with a varying amount of corpses hung from its branches, and they're the corpses of river pirates and other desperado type folks. It's legend to be, I don't want to say cursed, but it's a nexus of supernatural activity.
Okay. And there's not like a little outpost town type thing there or anything necessarily?
No, the closest outpost would be Shaw's Landing, 4 days to the south.
In the wrong direction. Okay. Alright.
But if you continue to go north, there's Split Rock Landing 5 days away, which is the bigger of the landings. And there's a small military barracks there as well.
Okay, and as far as the topography goes,
it's a lot more domesticated.
Are we at the foot of this cliff face?
Mm-hmm.
We are not on top?
Yeah, the cliff. Yeah, okay. You're at the foot of a cliff face. It is climbable, but it's about 400 feet vertical. Yeah. Think Grand Canyon type terrain, where if you get really lucky, you can find a path, but just at a glance, it looks like you're going to have to do some climbing. Well, some of you will have to do some climbing. And you also know this region in particular, there's a lot of Aarakocra that like to live in the canyon walls.
Okay. Teha, whereabouts are you from? We didn't really get to properly know one another before we got thrown into that cavern.
If we were to go west and slightly north, you would find the plateau where my people make camp. And where we have a small society, we do take in, other travelers that are not Aarakocra, so long as they're willing to be peaceful and abide by the rules of the society that we have set up. We believe in sharing among everyone. So the idea of possession is somewhat foreign at times. You wouldn't say that, for instance, that pot is my pot. It's everyone's to use, just as if I were to bring one of these antelope there, everyone would be able to partake. We would all share. And the same goes for just about everything within that culture. If someone has a child or an offspring, the entire group as a whole and the entire society helps to raise the child.
That's different. Nyx looks slightly perplexed, but also intrigued.
It is very different, which is why I was sent from our place to Hershaw, was to start reaching out to other societies to see how we might be able to work with them.
That's really nice. I kind of like that. Do you think? Well, not sure how we could get up there.
It would take...
I was thinking we could go to your people and you could tell them you're alive and you're okay, and maybe they could give us a little bit of help if they would be so inclined.
I'm sure they would, but I would also have to do more work to atone for the deeds, for the marks on my shoulder.
I understand. If you're not quite comfortable going back.
It's not so much uncomfortable. It's that there would be much that would need to be explained so that the elders and everyone within, I guess, our village could understand why I did what I did.
And that is completely fair. I wouldn't want to have to explain all this. Never mind. Just
on the other side, though, Nyx, and more to answer your question, we could go there, and they would more than likely be happy to help all of us, as we are travelers, and as I have explained their rules. So long as you abide by them, they would be happy to take you in and to help us on our journey.
Our journey to where exactly? Are we all feeling this whole White Sands thing?
From what the other small one has said, Natty, my feeling is we should go to White Sands to find someone who could maybe work with us on these devices to help more people, and to also learn more about what's been going on since our time in the caves.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I'm all right for heading in that direction. We got a whole camp full of resources around here. And she turns around and looks at the layout of the camp, at the different things that are there. What if, we're kind of in a survival situation, wouldn't y'all agree? So, I think it would be alright if we use some of this stuff to get back to civilization.
I would agree.
Natty chimes in as well. I think that's a great idea. I think waste not, want not, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Alright. Do y'all wanna try and, I don't know, figure out some sleeping arrangements, get some rest, and maybe in the morning we can just take inventory of what we got here? See if we can actually make this trip?
I think that would be wise. After Albert and Shepard come back, I'll go and get cleaned up in the river, and then we can figure out watches for the evening and other things.
Alright, that sounds good. And Nyx is just going to turn around and go rummage through one of the tents and see if she can find anything to assist their journey.
Albert, did you want to do a scene down at the river, or you could just get cleaned up?
It's montage. Albert cleans out his pits, bends down and scrubs himself with the shirt thingy that they got inside the cave, all along his back. And after a jive tune, he finally comes
so
out.
Shepard tries to whistle too, but it's all just one note.
Yeah, good bass, my friend, says Albert as he dances around.
I do not know how to play the bass.
I'll just keep whistling, and you're halfway there.
Excellent.
And finally, Albert steps out and takes his fur from his head to his tail. The hair is sticking out in every direction. And dries off.
This whole time, Shepard never really got more than 2 feet from you, as he just kind of as you turn to your left, he steps to his left to always keep an eye on your back.
And when I walk out, is he just standing there holding a towel, or
No, he's just keeping an eye on your back the entire time.
Shepard, not that I really mind. I kind of appreciate it. A very small and wild creek, but for future reference, you shouldn't follow people so closely, especially when they're bathing.
How else can I keep an eye on your back?
You watch from further away. In fact, dare I hazard to say, the wider scope of vision you'll get around me will give you a better assessment of the dangers that might approach.
Very well. So he gets about 30 feet from you, and then when you turn to the right or left, you see him sprinting to the right or left to try to keep an eye on your back.
Albert just laughs and goes along with it. And finally he puts on his clothing and puts the pistol back in his pocket and walks back to the camp.
Teha, do you want to ping on the map where your village would be?
I'm thinking it's going to be this one here.
Okay, that's fun. Because I just happen to have this here. How does that change things? So rocks are the equivalent of dragons in this world. No, I'm not saying it's not occupiable. I'm just saying it adds a layer of complexity to their relationship.
In that case, I would say that it's probably this one over here.
No, I mean you guys can still have a roost at the rock.
And
there just has to be a way to make it compatible.
If we're going to be there, then I would say that the Aarakocra, probably some of their, what would normally be like a medicine man or a shaman, essentially magic users, would work to try and commune with the creature and keep a balance of nature around them. That's something that's integral to their society. is that they
Yeah.
want to make sure that things are kept very balanced. So if there's already a rook's nest there, they would want to maintain that balance and not upset the creature, but still maintain.
Yeah, they want to have like
Exactly.
a symbiotic
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of relationship. I'm thinking like a Aztec kind of like Quizzicato
Similar,
kind of thing.
the Navajo, the Pueblo, also have some similar beliefs.
Yeah, I was thinking more like a Thunderbird or something, right?
Yeah, that would be very close to it.
What would be a name for it?
A name for the
For the
place?
place.
Hang on, I'm gonna have to look up the right translation for it. Give me one quick second.
Okay.
Are like the houses in this village made out of like adobe? Is it like a pueblo, or is it? I guess we'll find out when we get there.
I'm imagining. Remember the villages that are built in the canyon walls?
Yeah, like a Chaco Canyon.
I'm imagining. Yeah, like Chaco Canyon. I'm imagining that, and it's just like huge mesa land. And one thing that's a little weird about the mesa is that some of the large stone croppings are the cores of derelict arcologies from the previous civilizations that lived on this planet. Like the buildings that they made are as big as a mesa plateau, like 300 feet tall and 500 feet wide. Just those huge. And over time, they've kind of entered this dilapidated state, where they resemble a
Neat.
mesa.
Albert's gonna check out all this strata as he walks back, just whistling and appreciating.
So the name of it would be No Mai.
Can you type that in Discord, and then I'll paste it into the game?
There we go.
Alright. There we go. So now
Yep.
we have a place we can visit. And for you guys, I put a marker on the map. Right now it's just this horsey,
I like the horsey.
but we can change it to whatever you want later.
I like the
When
horse.
Albert
Works
gets
well
back,
for what we're doing.
he's still a little wet, but he sits down. He says, near the fire, and he says, "Where'd everybody go?" Oh,
Teha replies.
I'm over here in this tent.
Nyx is over there, and I believe Nettie is somewhere else nearby. And obviously,
yep.
Shepherd
he's,
was with you, right?
30 feet behind me, says Albert. Shepherd, you can stop with the back watching now.
Very well. He approaches the campfire.
and upon, Albert and Shepherd returning. Okay, friends. Since everyone's back, I'll go and get cleaned up, and we can go from there.
Well, hold on, Teha. You wanna take the cauldron or some bucket or something if we can find one, and get some water to bring back to camp since it's getting closer to dark.
Certainly. And he'll grab the cauldron with him and take it with him to the river to fill it with water and whatnot. I'll be back shortly.
Well, Albert, do you
I
have
think
any
Wyatt Sands, this is on my docket.
plans now that you're out of the cave?
That's right.
You talked a little bit
I
about
have-
going independent.
some business in White Sands,
What was
I
that?
think, says Albert. Before I can call myself a true PI, I have somebody I need their blessing first.
Well, blessings seem to be in short supply.
Well,
But
bless
I
bless
suppose if
you,
you go looking, you
says
can find them.
Albert.
Okay. And next, you're looking through the supplies
Yeah.
to see what you can find.
Because I went for a flight.
Okay, so we went over the big stuff. So we went over the big stuff. There was a wheel-lock pistol. There was 94 cartridges for it and 20 sticks of dynamite. The rest of the equipment is there's traveling equipment. There's 4 sleeping bags and tents to go with. That there are trail rations, but it's mostly booze. Like
I
it's
figured.
like, hey, we got a ham sandwich and then an 18-pack, kind of mentality.
So these were rednecks. That's what you're saying.
Yes. They were Whistling Joe,
Mhm.
and as you've had some interaction with him, he kind of birds of a feather are flocking together in this case. There isn't much in the way of magical items, but there are a bunch of like little trinkets.
Is there any coin in anything? Slash, follow-up question, do I have my coin still on me, or...
All that's gone.
Yeah, okay,
And
cool.
you realize that all the daily personal effects, like boots, Bowie knives, and like coin, something a person would have on them, is strangely missing. And then you look back at the giant deatomized hole in the wall, and I think that explains where it went.
Oh no, it definitely does. I was just wondering if they had some sort of stash of, group funds or
Stash.
something.
That's not a bad idea. That may come up. Go ahead and roll an
Okay.
investigation roll. Let's see if we can find a hidden stash. We're going to do a DC of 19 for this hidden stash.
Well, I rolled a...
You can give yourself guidance if you have it.
guidance?
Hmm.
I thought that was just...
I don't know
Isn't
if
that an attack?
I think you have it as a stars druid. No,
Oh,
it's
yes, I do.
buff
Oh, I see.
that you can add a.
It's amazing. I've never
Okay.
had that before. Okay. And I'm going to do that with my
All
little
right.
star map before I search.
Okay.
And that means I have advantage, it says.
It means you get to add a D4
add a
to
D4.
your roll.
Okay, well,
Mhm.
Let's see. Okay. Just, come on, D4. Give me something really nice. And this is, okay, 1, and then so that is 17, 18, and then what is my investigation bonus? Oh my gosh, it adds up to 19 exactly.
Nice. Okay.
Woo! Oh man.
So you find you're kind of going through the stash. It's like you find some magazines, some of the drawn magazines that Albert is always talking about, and you kind of push them aside. That seems kind of normal for this place. But then you find a book, and it's a book titled Transcendental Awareness. And you think, this is some pretty heavy reading.
I would definitely open that up and start looking through it.
Okay, so all the pages have been cut out, and it's just an empty pocket on the inside. And you find 41 gold in there.
Fantastic. Is there any sort of pouch or container nearby or on myself? Because I have no idea what I'm wearing
yes.
right now.
these utilitarian but well-crafted garments do come with
It
pockets.
has pockets.
Even in the
That's
dresses.
so
yes.
exciting. Okay.
And you do find a magipick of a desert darling. This guy's sweetheart, and she's posing, sitting side saddle on a horse and looking back over her shoulder. And she's about 20 years and 20 pounds out of her prime, but she does have a very sweet look on her face.
There's something special right there. All right. And then I'm just going to flip that picture face down and slide it away from myself. And then I'm going to scramble out of the tent and head back towards where I think Teja and Albert are, near the fire. Am I correct?
Okay. Well, I'm at the river.
In their location.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You're at the river.
Yeah.
Okay. Albert, listen, just in an effort to be above board with everybody, I just found a little bit of gold. So I was thinking, since we don't have our gold on us anymore, we could just use this little bit of gold to kind of fund our expedition. Might be able to buy ourselves some passage on a riverboat or supplies, because doesn't seem like these fellas did much other than drink.
Where'd you find it?
Can't get very far on just booze. I mean, we could always try, but it was over here in this book. Yeah, it's got a real goofy title, and I just thought it was a little suspicious, and I opened it up, and sure enough,
that's great
they had a
investigation.
little stash
says
in there.
Well done. I didn't find that in my search. Yeah.
Thank you.
What else are we gonna spend that money on?
I mean, I was kind of, I had my eye out, like I was specifically kind of looking for a place where they would hide money, so I may or may not have, called on the stars for guidance.
Right.
So
says Albert.
That's pretty much what happened.
What yeah. What else are we gonna use that money for? Comic books?
I think there
What?
might have
Says
been
Albert
a few
suddenly
in that
popping up.
stack in there.
He runs it.
Yeah. You might want to go have a look at those.
And you find some editions that you've read before, but they're kind of classics. That's Galleon
classic.
and the Gore Monsters, and
this is the one
the
where he
Revenge of the
turns
Star
into a
Beast.
salamander, and then he goes into the crack, and then the crack collapses, so he's stuck in the crack, and then he gets out, but Albert's just like nerding out into these books, and eventually he comes out carrying them.
Well, you know what? I'm really glad that I didn't read that comic before my little escapade, wild shaping into a lizard and slipping out of a crack and then going back in through that crack. Probably would have found that a whole lot harder to do.
Well, it's like my pa used to say, sometimes reality is stranger than fiction, but you better look out or you'll have a conniption.
The first half of that was pretty
another
solid.
great saying.
I don't know about that second half, though. Might need to work on it, yeah.
Albert, you've inspired me. I would like to make some phrases. Try this. A tree with leaves.
Yes, a tree with leaves. What rhymes with that?
My father
Yes.
said. And then we laugh.
Here, why don't we spitball off each other? A tree with leaves.
Very well.
A nose that sneeze. Is. Yeah,
My father said.
that's right, he says. Now you're getting...
Yes, I am getting the hang of this.
Yeah, the form shepherd is typically, it's got to be like a couplet. So it's got to be 2 sentences and they rhyme.
A tree with leaves has bees for knees, my father said.
That is accurate. That's one. That works.
Well done, my friend.
Excellent.
I'm
This form of communication
Albert
is
sits beside
easy.
him and pats him on the shoulder. And he turns to Nix and he says, "So, you going to White Sands?"
I mean, I guess so, yeah. I mean, I don't really have anywhere else to be, necessarily,
Nix, why
at
why
the
did you-
moment.
join the detective agency in the first place?
See, that is a long and complicated story.
I
What
literally
he
have
said.
nowhere else to go.
That's great. That's alright. Because out of character, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I genuinely don't remember
Al-
exactly the
Albert-
setup that we had. There was a reason.
So
It was...
I don't know how much Nix would share, but it had to do with her family.
That's right.
Going to catch
That's
Kira
right. Okay.
over. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Nyx is gonna, shifty, looking around, and kind of her tail is kind of swishing a little bit because she's a bit upset by this questioning, and she's just gonna, not looking anybody in the eye, just gonna be like, well, somebody asked me to do them a favor, because, well, see, they kind of had something on my family, on my parents, and it was kind of the only way out of it. And honestly, I gotta contact my family because I don't think my parents even know. I don't know if
Where
they
are
know
they?
that I died. Because,
Kashkira.
they're in Keshkura.
That's on the other side of the.
But
That's on the other side of this continent. I think.
yes, it is. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's a really long way from here. I'm pretty
Well,
far
when-
from home. But then again, kind of close to home.
When
So, I guess that's a good thing about being from everywhere and nowhere. You're never too far from home, I guess.
or every place is a new home.
Nyx is visibly sad.
Well, I mean, a lot of folks, wherever they lay their head, that's where their home is.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to have a place where you belong, you know?
Have you ever felt like you belonged anywhere?
One time, there was a little bit of time where I felt like I belonged, but other than that, not really.
We cut away and we see Teha fighting a mountain lion with a Bowie knife. Sorry, that
That was fine.
I interrupted your thing.
Good.
Yeah, so have you ever felt like you had a home? A place where you belong?
Once. Just once. I'd like to feel that way again.
What was it like?
I don't know. You ever remember? All right. I'm sure y'all had somewhat normal childhoods. You know that feeling of what it's like to like.
The rat folk woman looks over at the the Vulpin and then looks at the robot. Well, I think we all kind of come from different places, but life does seem to have some commonalities.
Well, I don't know. There's
Yes, I had parents. You had parents. We have that in common.
Well, there was just at one point we lived in Harshaw, the city proper, and we'd come there through a long, I don't know what you'd call it, series of events that led us there. I was about, 9 or 10. And it was like, there's, when you're playing outside in the streets with your friends, and you're just kind of getting up to some mischief, and you play ball, and then, it starts to get dark like it is right now, and you hear your mom calling you for supper, and you say goodbye, and you run home, and you know that Mom and Dad are there, and there's going to be food on the table. You're going to eat, you're going to go to sleep, and then when you get up in the morning, you just do it all again. And it just seems like it won't ever end like that. Like, that's how you're going to spend the rest of your life.
I think Natty kind of reaches out to you and kind of squeezes your hand and smiles and says, that's kind of what I had at Palactia. I mean, I'm one of 12 children, so it was a bit chaotic, but we did spend a lot of time out playing in the streets, and I always dreamed about being out in the country where one could just be themselves and not feel overrun by all the other faces and people. But, now that I'm out here all alone, I miss them.
Well, there's also just something about all your friends knowing your real name and playing games and just kind of being a kid. And I miss that.
Albert nods. It's like, this is the longest time I've ever been away from my family, though. Apparently, I don't remember most of it. If you'd like, we can call you for supper.
Well, y'all have really become some of my best friends because, you're the first people that know my real name since I lived in Harshaw.
Nick's Nightclaw.
Yeah.
I think Natty kind of sighs a little bit, and she leans over to give you a hug, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Shepard speaks up and says, "I was manufactured 35,000 years ago. The people that made me and the people that I knew then are all gone. But good people still exist. After all, I found you all."
I know you can't eat Shepard, but we'll call you for supper too.
Teja, did you want to do a river scene too, since that seems to be trendy right now?
Trendy.
So, over at the river, Teja puts his hand over his holy symbol again. And he looks up to the sky and uses what remaining sunlight and any new stars in the sky to figure out the directions of north, south, east, and west. And he slowly and very methodically takes off his clothes and folds it. And then he faces to the north, and he places his hand over his symbol again, then to his head, and then puts a hand out like he's waving at maybe a long lost friend that's come back again. And then he turns to the east and repeats it, and to the south, and to the west. And finally, facing back north, he gets down on his knees and makes a small prayer / plea to the ancestors. Great ancestors, you saw fit to send me out into this world and to make contact with society, to see where our people may be able to fit in this new world. I've met some good people already. People who I think would work with us, work with our culture. But I've also had to do some things which I'm sure you've seen. And hopefully I can atone for those actions before I meet my people again. I ask that you give us guidance and protection as we make our way in whatever direction life may lead us. He bows his head, goes over to the water and begins to meticulously, starting at his feet, wash, each separate part of his body, cleaning any dirt or detritus from his feathers and plumage. And then he gets back out and puts his clothing back on, puts his hand over this holy symbol again, leaning his head down, and then slowly makes his way back to the camp.
And as he's going back, the last little beams of the sunlight slip behind the horizon, and the stars are twinkling above before the storm clouds roll in. Were you guys doing shifts during the night, or were you guys just conking out?
We were gonna get that set up after I got back from getting cleaned up at the river.
Well, it is no problem for me. I can position myself to see the camp at large, and I can stand sentry during the night.
All right.
So the mechanics behind it is, and you've experienced his sentry watch before. He simply stops moving, but he still sees with his eyes. So if something were to trigger his senses as to danger, he would come back online and be able to alert people. But the disadvantage is that he doesn't actively look back and forth. So if you guys don't have like a choke point that he can just stare down, then he can get flanked and things can move in from the sides without him seeing.
Then I say that we position Shepard to where he watches the entrance of that to the mine, so that he watches the cave, make sure nothing comes out after us, because we know there are plenty of dangers in there, and then we take turns being the other person who sits up and watches with their head on a swivel the rest of the camp for external dangers.
I think that is a good plan. And he goes over and stares down the cave. Throws a glow stick down there.
I'll take first watch.
I will take third.
Sounds good. And Nyx is gonna go sit down, and she's gonna pull out her star chart and start looking around, and then she'll look at her chart and look up at the stars. Just getting back into familiarity.
As you gaze up into the night sky, you see the familiar celestial bodies. The silver moon quickly moving through the night sky, and the debris cloud that follows it. Looking up, it's about the size of a tennis or a golf ball, and it appears fairly close to the planet. There's also a silver ring that goes around Nesca, and it is slightly inside of that planet's orbit. The stars themselves are changed to midsummer, and after about an hour of gazing up, you can feel the comfort of their familiarity once again.
Nice.
And
Should I roll perception for my
Two.
watch?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, the silver moon is known as Lenar. Lenar.
I think I'm finally getting paid back for my good rolls earlier. That was less than ideal. Mm-hmm. Even with that bonus, that is only a 9.
9.
And I have a +4. So
And I think that's largely because you were looking
Yes.
straight up at the stars and not at the at the surroundings. I think that accurately represents what's going on. Roll me a D100.
Oh, great. Where's my D100? There it is. That is a 10.
10.
A mountain lion swoops in, grabs Nyx. We
Boom,
cut to black.
dead.
She's dead.
Flying mountain lion. Shepard wakes you up during the watch. Or not wakes you up. Does he wake you up during your watch?
I'm awake.
So you didn't fall asleep?
No,
Okay.
I'm awake.
Okay, so you hear Shepard turn to you and say, Nyx, there are some rats. And you can see a group of rats coming out of the cave. And they're kind of like sniffing around the entrance.
These damn rats.
And you look back and you see the dressed down gazelle that had been butchered earlier today. And what did you do with your crawdad? Did we cook it?
I think it went into the pot.
Or did you
it went
just
into the pot.
catch and
so
release?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what happened to it.
Okay.
Let
Okay.
me do one thing real quick. Check this. All right, I am going to there's the campfire still going, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to run over and pull hopefully a branch
burning
out
branch.
like a torch and kind of run towards the rats.
The rats. All right, brandishing this flaming piece of wood.
attempting to
Give me animal handling or intimidation.
animal handling.
Do you prefer?
Should be fine. I'm pretty sure I have. Yeah, I definitely have good stats in that. So, okay. All right, my rolls aren't terrible now. 15, 16, 17, 18.
18. What is the wisdom of a rat? I guess it'd be versus their charisma. Oh, they have -3 charisma. Over them. 15. They look pretty hungry, but the sight of you brandishing this flame turns them, routs them, and they retreat back into the cave.
All right. I'm going to take that branch, and I'm going to return it to the fire after they're gone. But I'm going to leave that end out and pointed towards me so that I can grab it quickly.
Oh, it's easy to grab.
And then I'm going to turn around and continue my watch. Letting Shepard keep watch for the rats.
Okay, so Shepard goes, very well done. And you see his head just kind of snap forward and his arms go to his side. And he once again returns to his sentry post. Next up, the rest of your shift goes to that incident. Who's up next? Albert, roll me a D100.
Albert wakes up, spends his time doodling in the sand, alternating between that and, of course, scoping around with his eyes, watching. 81.
You wake up before your watch was to start, and you kind of feel an itchy, like, rash forming on your arm and back, kind of like your torso area. And then in a flash, you remember where you had placed your clothes was poison oak. and you're feeling itchy and just kind of like, meh. It's just, and it's kind of like inflamed.
Dag nabbit. What? I can't believe it. Well, this sucks. Nix, you wanna set an early? I don't think I'm gonna be able to sleep properly tonight.
All right, that sounds fine to me. Are you?
By the way, do you have any milk?
No. Where would I have gotten milk? I mean, you
look,
can always venture in there and get some bat milk if you want to go that route again.
There are bats flying in and out of this entrance.
Shepard, you want to help a fella out? Says Albert.
I'm going to bed. And Nyx just turns on her
Certainly.
heel really fast and dives into the tent.
Don't touch
You
my
hear
clothes.
Shepard starting to squeak and bat knees.
Beep, beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep.
As you recall, he'd been able to speak with the bats earlier, and we'll make a persuasion roll.
Hey.
14. All right. He comes back over to you with 2 bats there, Albert, and says, Albert, these bats seem to be congenial and willing to help.
Excellent, says Albert. I don't suppose you know what it feels like to be itchy, Shepard.
Not in the slightest. Once again, another flaw of meatbags such as yourself.
It's kind. Could you ask them for if they might give me some milk?
Oh, I already spoke to them about it. They were willing to do an exchange of sorts if you will give them some bugs that they will be willing to lactate for you.
Oh, that ain't no issue, says Albert. He walks over to the log by
Excellent.
the fire and lifts it up. Are there, like, any beetles or spiders or anything underneath there?
They said that there was a wasp or a beehive not too far from here.
Oh, that'll give me an even worse rash.
They said if you were to bring them the beehive, they could take care of the rest.
I don't think I can do
Or
that.
simply, it is on a branch. If you were to dislodge it and open it up, then they would be able to feed.
Albert says, I don't think I can do that.
Then they are not willing to give you milk.
So it is, says Albert. He sighs to himself and sits down, scratching.
Okay, so
I
Stripper
couldn't
goes,
even shoot
"Squeak,
that
squeak,
beehive
squeak."
because then they'd all just fly at me when it fell down.
It is a conundrum. Is there something I can do to help you?
I don't think so, says Albert. You should just stay on watch, Shepard.
Very well.
Albert will just, spend his time trying to take his mind off his itching as much as possible by doodling and looking around.
All right, go ahead and roll me a Constitution save.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. Okay.
It's going to be a DC of 10. And
Well, he fails that.
The itching is keeping you up. What did you get?
A 6, I think.
A 6. Okay. So you take a point of exhaustion.
Great.
Yeah, people are pretty stoked about getting exhausted. Okay, that is your shift. Next up.
Teha.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a D100. Is there anything you want to do during your shift? 40?
Mostly just keep an eye out for things. Just watch over everyone, make sure that they're somewhat sleeping okay.
Okay. You don't know what it is, and you don't see the source, but you get the distinct feeling of being watched.
With that kind of feeling of being watched, Teha looks back over his shoulder and makes sure that Shepard is still keeping an eye on the cave entrance. Mm-hmm. And he'll very quietly make a round around the camp, kind of around the outside of it.
Okay.
Just to see if there's that feeling persists, for one, but two, if there's anything out there.
There is something out there, and give me an investigation roll as you probe into the whatever this mystery is. You find 2 sets of horse tracks. And with a 12, you see that one of the horses had thrown a shoe, and that it looks distinctly like the horses that ran away earlier the day.
Okay. And I'll just kind of keep moseying around the camp. Also keeping one hand up to the side of my eyes to shield it against the light from the campfire itself, to kind of help preserve any night vision that I may have. And I'll just slowly continue to make my way around the outside of the camp, checking for anything.
Okay. You complete the round, and you are not able to find the source of this agitation, but you did find some of the detritus left behind by it. Other than that, it's a quiet night. Gentle rain starts to fall, and you realize that these tracks are going to be lost quickly because of that.
Teha's gonna take a moment, and he'll mumble to himself. I know that many of my new friends have said that they wish to go to the White Sands. And these tracks lead to the north. Question for the DM, how strong are the winds right now?
I can tell you exactly how strong they are. They are 4 to 7 miles an hour, or 3 to 6 knots.
Okay. Teha will go back to his original spot near the campfire.
Okay. And as your shift winds down, there's another 2-hour block. Daddy volunteered earlier to take a shift. Would you wake her up to take her shift, or would you let her sleep and continue your visual?
Teha will take the next shift because he knows that Natty is still kind of at a turning point regarding her nature and learning to be better. And also given the fact that you know, everything that we've gone through, you know, in the caves and everything, he probably has more endurance to stay up and stay healthy as opposed to
Well,
her.
let's find out. Roll me a con save. It's a DC 10.
Constitution save.
Wow. You are still kind of coming off whatever those drugs are from the night before, you know, that had you thinking clearly. And without any effort whatsoever, you're just like clear-minded. And I think there's just a lot to like to process as well. And you're just feeling a connection with nature again, and it's almost like transcendental, like this kind of experience to be like up and effectively alone once again. And I think that helps you get through the night without any sort of issue. And during that time, you hear Albert rolling over constantly.
I hate
itching.
poison oak.
Itching.
He's not going to be happy for the next few days.
Okay. So that ends the shift. So you guys completed a short rest. So waking up, Natty approaches you, Teha, her arms crossed, and she's kind of got a bit of a scowl. So I offered to keep watch last night.
I know, small one. But I also know that because of your size and the trials that you already suffered in the caves, you needed the rest more than
Look,
I do.
Teha, don't bullshit me. I know what's going on. You caught me, and you don't trust me. And she comes up to you. Her ears come up to your chest, and her eyes are like at your stomach level, and she pokes you in the chest, like 2 fingers. I know you don't trust me.
Trust is something you and I are both working on. I do trust you to an extent, but I also know that even though you are trying to be a better individual, there are still going to be times where your old nature may come into play, and I did not want to tempt you while you were still trying to sleep and recover.
She shakes her head. I'll actually make a persuasion roll, if you want.
Ouch.
She shakes her head and says, "You know what? Just never mind. I'll just start making breakfast. It's fine."
Albert wakes up to see the very end of this
And
exchange.
then she goes to get some water.
And he's like, good morning.
She looks back
Morning,
over her
Albert.
shoulder and says, "Good morning." Still a little bit heated, but
Whoa,
accidentally directing some of her
good morning,
frustration towards you, Albert.
says Albert, and he continues itching himself. Do y'all have know any way to get rid of poison oak rashes? He says, yawning. I can't get any bat milk.
I don't know. Let's see if Shepard does. I'm gonna say nature to find a remedy. Medicine. Oh,
Well,
yeah, nature. Oh shit.
I was about to say,
So-
can Nyx look around for some sort of plant that might counteract it? Because
Yeah, go ahead and make a nature roll with advantage because
I
Shepard's
didn't
helping you.
sleep well last night. I think.
oof, no. Oh, that's better.
And
Whew.
you can give yourself guidance on this
No,
roll.
it's good. 19.
19.
My first one was
Okay.
a natural 1, though. So thank you, Shepard.
Okay, so you're able to find. So you know a little bit about these river areas. Your childhood was up in the north, along a riverbank. Various traders and whatnot coming through, and you find a riverweed, and it's got like a thick, corky stem, and when you crack it open, like a yellowy syrup kind of oozes out of it, and you know this is perfect for treating these kind of
Wonderful, as long
rashes.
as it's not milky. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to gather quite a hefty handful of this riverweed and bring it back to Albert. And as I enter camp, Albert, I noticed you seem to be scratching a little bit. So when I was down at the river, I noticed there was a patch of poison oak. You wouldn't happen to have stepped in it or
Albert
something
drops
like
his head and
that?
he says, I
would
did.
you? Okay, all right. I just want to be sure that you can recognize it. So, and during this, Nyx is starting to break it open and
I thought it was cherry oak.
applying it carefully.
Okay.
If you want to take a walk with me, they look very different. But if you want to take a walk with me, I could point it out to you and show you what it looks like, so you can avoid it from now on.
Idea, says Albert. Still tired.
All right.
While they're off doing this, and while Maddie's getting water, Teha will take a few of the bones from the antelope from, hunting, and put the bones kind of near the fire so that it helps to cook the marrow. And kind of cut up some of the antelope to start helping to make breakfast for everyone.
Okay. So after you guys kind of collect yourself, finish the morning rituals, and take care of breakfast, start getting ready to move on with the day, I think Natty would kind of step forward and say, well, which way is it? Where do we go?
I guess we're heading towards White Sands.
Oh,
We should walk north along the rivers.
That seems to be the consensus, yes.
I'm not really voting one way or another. I think we need to look around here and see what we can gather up. Because it's gonna be a trek down to anywhere where we can catch a boat.
Well, we got the 2 mounts, and she gestures towards the axe beak and the horse. We got camping supplies for 4. And we got a crate full of ammo and a crate full of dynamite.
And we've got a tent.
We have a few tents, yes.
Alright, then let's break camp and load that. Is that a cart right over there? DM? That's a cart to the side?
Yeah.
Alright.
And let's make it officially a cart. Vehicles, landcraft. It's a stagecoach, covered wagon. We'll just do wagon.
It's a wagon, yeah. Covered wagon.
They don't seem sophisticated enough to be covered wagon
true.
folk. I'm imagining just like a cargo, cart, like a cargo cart, like very bottom of the rung kind of stuff. In fact, it's even more bottom of the rung. There you go. So it does have health. It can get damaged and destroyed and repaired, so it's not some sort of invincible thing. But it is quite adequate for holding all your gear, and it's sized for the axe beak. And it can carry 1 medium or small creature to drive it.
Okay.
Who of you has experience driving the wagons?
A little bit.
I have absolutely none, but would like to learn. So to drive the
Shepard,
wagon, it's vehicle handling proficiency.
Yeah, no.
Um,
Don't have that. Real
But anybody can
taking-
drive the wagon. It's just the vehicle handling proficiency. You get to add your your proficiency to it.
I'm.
If
Sorry. I have a question for the DM. Oh, I think Albert's lagging. That's the problem.
Go ahead. Oh.
After short rest, because I am a druid, am I allowed to change my prepared spells for the day?
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah.
Yeah. Normally it's after a long rest, but because the gritty realism, we're gonna just do it at the beginning of every day. You can change your spells.
That works. Okay.
And that goes for Teha. You can switch your spells around too, right?
Yes. At every dawn, you can choose
Paladin,
to change.
can Paladin switch your spells?
Yeah.
Prepare.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll keep mine the way they're at because I've got a pretty good basic setup.
So to get some ground rules for the gritty realism we're running and the resting, it's a week of downtime, and during that downtime, it's like no strenuous activities, but you can do an hour of combat, up to an hour of combat every day, and it won't interrupt it. But traveling, also like excessive fighting or like a unique kind of event could interrupt it. Short rests are just an 8-hour sleep. You don't need to sleep for 8 hours. You just need to have 8 hours of inactivity. So like fighting will interrupt a short rest. And spell duration also gets boosted. So just take any spell with a duration of over 1 minute, multiply it by 10, and that's now how long it lasts.
Okay.
So like for Hunter's Mark, it'll last for 10 hours. Invisibility, 10 hours. And just multiply by 10, and that's a new duration.
That's really great.
And animal friendship would last 240 hours. Or 200.
Yeah, 240 hours.
It would last 10 days. Yeah, it'd last 10 days.
That is.
Yeah, so animal.
Yeah. You figured me out. You saw it.
So. Yeah, so feel free to use those spells. And I think your characters would know like the common ways of communication over great distances. There's the Ghost Riders, which are the undead constructs that ride phantom steeds, and they're like the premium delivery service. They're like Amazon drones. They just go. So you might be crossing paths with them every now and then as they're making their various deliveries. And that's also part of the whole Trail Buddies things. There's a delivery service within 500 miles of the major towns. They can send out these deliveries. And the other major way of communication and exchange is by animal messenger. They'll get large birds for the most part, like albatross kind of birds, and you can deliver packages and letters and whatnot, kind of like a Harry Potter kind of thing. But there's a chance that they are eaten, and I think it's actually written in there: courier may be killed and eaten. You have to get 2 natural ones on a 2d20 for your. Yeah, you got to get double. You got to get double nat ones. So it's a 1 in 400 chance. But when you buy a $500 rifle and it gets eaten coming out to you, I don't know if you really want to risk that 1 in 400.
Pretty bad.
Oh, one of the magazines you found was the Trail Buddies Outfitters. And it's a magical magazine, and it has a sending card in it, and that's what you use to make these orders. So you can spend your gold and have these items fairly reliably arrive at your position. The Ghost Riders are known to try to kill you when they arrive, but that's just a minor thing.
Doesn't seem very minor to me, but okay. Sure,
Minor
yeah.
is in it's not a big problem, or they.
I'm
they only
speaking
try to
as a
kill
Trail
people who are,
Buddies
like,
PR rep
I
right
was
now.
gonna say. Sounds like custom.
Well, they are the undead, and once they are released of their burden, they can do whatever they want. And most of them just move on to the afterlife, but some of them just want to friggin' stab and mess somebody up before they go out.
Cool. Is there an HR number
that's
to report my delivery man in the
Yes.
back of the Trail Buddies?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh yeah. There's a number. They'll get back to you. Yeah,
My
they'll
call
get
was
back
very
to you.
important to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just please stay on hold.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you.
So knowing this,
And
Nyx is probably gonna bring that as we're packing up, bring that magazine out and lay it out on the back end of the cart. And call over Teja and Albert and Natty and say, should we put in
I
an
think
order for regular
these might be
clothes
putting a bit of a target on our back.
before we get somewhere? Yeah, exactly.
I think that's.
I
We have
agree.
48.
Threats. So yeah,
The question is whether or not we have the gold for
I found
doing so.
40. How many?
41.
41 gold. So I hope that might be enough. We'd have to save some for provisions and buying passage, possibly.
So there's a link in the handout that I shared, and that actually will take you to a spreadsheet with all the items that they sell.
Oh, that's exciting.
And it's most of it is copied directly. Yeah, so you know exactly where you're getting. And this is all copied out of the player's handbook. So if you ever need to just make a personal reference. Also, the only homebrew stuff in it is under firearms and artillery. There's an extensive amount of homebrew in there. But that gives you an idea. The pistol that Albert found is valued at 80 gold pieces.
Is the dock...
And there's a bunch of other...
Is the dock equipment of Nesca?
Yeah. No, it's called Trail Buddies Monthly. And you just click on the link in the handout, and it'll take you to it. It's a Google Doc.
Where's the handout, though? I'm confused. Where is this located?
Is there nothing popping up on your Roll20?
Oh, on
It should be in
Roll20.
Roll20.
Oh, jeez, I'm not good at using Roll20 yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
it.
There should be like a horse with...
Very
okay, yeah.
chaotic
Can't find
looking
clothes
horse
in here,
Pegasus
says
thing.
Albert. They have a lot of armor.
Uh-huh.
They got hide armor.
Let's
Where
see.
did they put it? Can they not find it?
There's probably not clothes, of course.
Oh.
It's under Bounce, Kit, and Gunna. And it would be under Other Adventuring Gear, the green tab. And it's 5 silver for common clothes, and 5 gold pieces for a costume.
Oh, goodness.
And 15 for some fine clothes. 2 gold for travelers.
Including poison oak.
And if you have traveler's clothes, I'll give you advantage against
Can we get
for
some traveler's
Constitution
clothes?
saves against.
Says Albert. I like the
Weather
zip off ones where
stuff.
you can turn it from the pants into the shorts.
Like if it's extremely hot out. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll do poison oak too.
All right. We could put in an order for a few sets. How many days does this take to get here? How long would we have to camp out in this location?
Oh, it finds you.
It
so,
finds us. So we don't have to stay.
Yeah.
It's like
There's 2 means of. Oh, go ahead.
nothing. Go ahead.
Well, it doesn't find you. It finds the magazine you ordered it from, and it drops it off of the
Oh,
magazine.
that's brilliant. I like
Yeah.
that. That is really cool. Okay.
So don't let it get stolen. Which reminds me, since something. Okay, I need to roll. Okay. So there's 2 means of delivery. One is the animal messenger, and I'll roll a 2d8 behind the screen, and that will be the amount of days that it takes to arrive. So it would just be a number that only I would know. So I just rolled in 6 days something would arrive.
Oof.
But it can arrive between 2 to 8 days, 2 to 16 days. And then the other one costs a lot more, but it arrives in 1d4 days.
How many gold
So
pieces is
it's-
it for the fast delivery? Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna be able to do that.
But you can order field
I just want
artillery.
to know what happened to my other stuff, man.
My driver's license.
I feel like I'm
My
been
Supercuts
violated.
bonus card. Oh,
My
God.
clothes, my wallet, all gone. Without my knowledge. Right?
Yeah. And then, right? And then the animal messenger is 5 gold pieces. or you can pay double and shipping's free.
Pay double and shipping is free.
Do we need clothes for
That's
Shepard?
funny. So that would be 8 gold pieces for clothing. Do we need anything else? If we're gonna put this...
Could we get him?
No.
Could we get Shepard some
We need
regular
clothes.
clothes so he doesn't stand
Shepard
out?
Shepard looks around confused. Do I?
I think we need clothes for Natty, though, was the idea.
Oh, yes. If you don't mind.
We could get him a bandana.
I'm not sure that we're gonna be able to disguise him even in regular clothes, Albert.
As long as we don't step into any banks, we should be fine.
I mean, we could.
Yes, I do enjoy bandanas.
Oh, man. Anything else that we need? What other items? The question is, what items do we actually have in this camp versus what do
there
we
any
need
rope?
to make it across? I don't know what the terrain is going to be like.
You're going to be dealing
there any
with
rope in
plains
this
and
encampment?
river.
Alright.
And mountain if you want to climb the.
You know, my pa used to say, as long as you got rope, you
cliff
won't
next
look
to you.
like a dope.
Yeah, there's 100 feet of rope.
Okay. That's beautiful. Okay, and do we have any kind of water skin or other vessel within which to carry water, other than the pot?
You have 30. You have 30 empty beer bottles,
Wait,
and you
says
have
Albert.
13 full ones, untapped
Maybe we should get the
ones.
healer's kit.
Fantastic. All right.
And you have an iron cooking pot, but no.
You know what? That is a good idea. How much is the healer's kit? Let me
It's-
see here. flipping through the pages of this thing. This is pretty handy.
Maybe they'll have something for poison hope.
Ah, 5.
If you hit
5,
Control F, you can type.
5 gold for that. Interesting.
Do we have feed for the axe beak?
I think that's fair.
Hey, maybe they would. Potion of healing is 50 gold pieces, so we would never be able to afford that.
Ooh. Could we get a grappling hook? I have no need for one. I simply like them.
No, I think, you know what? I think that we need to stick to necessities, and I can't really think of
Do we have...
a situation in which a grappling hook is going to be necessary unless we plan on scaling these walls.
Do we have
and
feed for this
I
axe
really
beak
don't.
and this horse?
It's a little bit more danger than I'm ready to sign up for.
Axe beak food?
Shepherd goes beep boop boo.
What does an axe beak eat? Does anybody know what one of those eats?
Mostly they subside off of small mammals and reptiles.
All right.
Also other birds and carrion.
Okay, and in this river valley area that we're hopefully going through, there's grass and greenery. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it can graze.
We'll be able to.
Yeah, if you move at a slower pace, you can allow. So when you guys are camped out, animals that can graze don't cost any upkeep. They just take care of themselves. But when you're moving, you have to feed them.
Anybody else?
I suggest we
can't always rely on there being
perhaps some rations.
an antelope around.
I know that you need fuel to operate.
It's true. But would rations make... Would rations... I mean, Teha here has already proven he's a capable
It is
hunter.
true, but-
I have some skill. Would making... making an order for rations cause our delivery critter to be more appetizing to predators and increase our chance of losing our order along the way?
Oh no. They eat them regardless of what they're carrying.
That is comforting. Thank you, Shepherd. All right. Let's order how many? I mean, they're only worth, a day, and they're 5 silver. So that's 4 of us that eat. And it's probably about a
That's
3
4 times 4 is
to
16
4 day
if we
journey.
want to eat every day from the rations.
Can
that
someone
would
who
be
is better
8
at
gold
math take
altogether.
over
Yes.
here?
But if we're banking on only needing it once or twice, we probably only need
All right.
maybe 8 rations. That would be
Great.
4 gold.
So, as you're familiar with this area, you know this is fairly verdant land, and hunting is not too difficult, although there are some minor risks.
Okay.
All right.
Like a 15% chance
All right.
of
Then
getting
let's
injured.
just buy 1 day's worth of rations, just for emergency use. So that's
5 for the
8
healer's kit.
8 gold for outfits, and then 2 gold for rations. Was there anything else? Not 5 for the healer's kit. That's what it was. All right, so we're gonna place an order. However that works, I will leave that to the DM's description.
I have a notepad open, and go ahead and just give me your shopping list.
Okay, so that's 4 sets of traveler's clothes. In size large, medium, extra small, and extra small. One with wing slits in the back, I guess, and 3 with tails. Just, putting our tailor measurements on there for these finely crafted. Just kidding. then healer's kit.
Okay, it's all done. It's all done
Oh,
psychically, and you just get like a minor,
A little-
like you feel like a tingling as the
A little
information is
headache
relayed.
as I try to relay
Okay.
all the anthropomorphic animal shapes
You,
through time and space.
yeah, you hear a little voice
Did it work?
Fantastic.
in your head say, "Do do do, thank you for ordering with Travel Buddies Weekly.
What, can I try?
Your
Wait,
sizes
or do you
have
have to
been
do the same
accepted."
order yourself?
This is amazing. I think it worked. I heard a little voice in my head.
She's the only one that can hear it.
I think I'm just doing it all myself. Hold on. Shh. All right. And then I place an order for the healer's kit. And then we are doing four rations. 4 ration packs.
Excellent. Please deposit your cord piece with the appropriate amount of funds.
And I do so.
Please deposit your cord piece. Okay, so
don't know.
I guess Nick should know that these cord pieces are like little coins linked to a bunch of magic bullshit. But Natty comes forward and she says, "Here, I have one." And taking it, you stack the appropriate amount of gold coins up and place the cord piece upon it, and then it transmutes all the gold coins into the cord piece, and then you set the cord piece on the order slip, and there's a brief hum, and order complete.
Great. All right. Now, is this the thing that we've got to keep with us so that it can track us down?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Teja, do you want to be the locator beacon for this thing? Or should I?
I pity the poor animal that tries to find Teja while he's 100 feet in the air.
I think it should stay with you. Just in case I have to fly off and hunt. At least it's closer to the group.
Just a little context for the coinage. All the gold in this world has a low-level divination magic on it. So the people at the banks can loosely track all of your positions if you have gold coins on you. And there's a lot of people that don't like that, and they use Electrum. So that's the special thing about Electrum, is the divination magic is fouled by the alloy.
It uses anonymous blockchain technology.
And then the tracking is only good to 24 miles.
It's an oddly specific number.
Yeah, it is. And it's because the player's handbook suggests 24 miles for a day's travel for adventurers.
Oh.
So, just as a side note, Teja's people they will only use Electrum. They don't want the gold tracing to where the community is. They don't mind, invited guests they're fine with, but anyone trying to spy on them, they would take that as kind of an overt act of aggression.
So it is a little bit weird that I think you guys would be like, hey, if these guys are bandits, then why are they...
That's
on the books
exactly
with
where
their
my brain
currencies?
went. Was like, why are they on the grid?
Also, I want to retcon, that magic pick, the picture of that woman looking backwards. There was also a sending stone in that book as well. But sending stones allow two-way communication between two people. It's like a direct line to them.
Okay. I'm going...
It's go ahead.
So the context clues here, I would assume, mean this person was using a sending stone to speak to the woman in the picture type thing? Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, as we have packed up and everything, I'm going to find like a little sheltered spot, maybe near one of those bushes that's on the outskirts of the camp, and place the sending stone on top of the picture. So, like, if they come back, they can have it back.
Oh, that's helpful.
And then Nyx is going to spend the next however long gathering up unbroken beer bottles, washing them, and filling them down by the stream. And you get the distinct impression watching Nyx do this that she's got some practice at having found scrounging for containers and filling for water and prepping for overland travel.
Okay, I'll give you 6 rations for that. What direction were you guys going? North or south?
We should head towards Gallows Branch. Will give us a better idea of
I
where exactly
think
we are.
we had agreed on going towards the river and then north, right, guys?
We might also see run into Whistling Joe there.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Oh, before we take off, right as we take off, Nyx is going to, because we don't know about these animals, I'm trying to hitch up the axe beak. How docile is it? Is it cool with us?
It's not a very well-bred animal. It's not very
Okay.
well trained, and it's been kind of ignored and been used as a beast of burden. So it's familiar with people, but it's not familiar with being well taken care of. So it's a little gun shy. The level of treatment's about the same for the two animals.
Okay. Then I'm going to expend one of my precious spell slots to cast Animal Friendship on the axe beak.
Do they get to save
Yes,
against that,
it's
or
a wisdom. It's
or
a
does
wisdom
it just
save.
happen? What's your DC?
12. Yeah, for this one, it says 12.
And you're doing it on the axie beaky?
Yes.
Okay, it nuzzles you and tries to put its heavy beak kind of in the crook of your neck, and you can hear it
Aww.
like kind of a weird bird, like cooing.
Hey! Yeah, I might be using a little bit of a cheat. But, what do you think we ought to name it? It's super cute. I'm scratching it.
Let's name it Cheat, says Albert.
Alright, cheat. Cheat beak.
Cheat Beak.
Teha kind of looks at it and goes, "You make friends
Okay.
quickly, little one."
I'll make a named
It's
axe
cheat
beak.
beak. Cheat for short.
So because it's under animal friendship, any sort of animal handling rolls you would have to make, you just don't have to roll now.
Okay.
It just happens because of the influence you have with it.
Alright, now, here's the question.
Is it cheek?
Cheat. Because I
Cheat.
cheated to make
That's-
friends with it.
That was my suggestion.
Oh.
Yeah, I just thought Cheat would be a good name, says Albert, because you said you cheated, and I was like, oh, Cheat.
At least that's what I
That's
think.
a good name.
Hold on, I just realized that's the way I interpreted it.
It don't even have a cheek.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be
Alright,
good
alright.
ironically.
That's what I thought, but for a second there I thought you said cheek, and then I was like, uh-oh, like maybe I misunderstood the intention there, but it's alright, we got that all cleared. So it's cheat.
Is it alright if I spend this today in the wagon?
still gotta-
Says Albert. He does look pretty exhausted.
I think
he-
you've been through some real shit today.
He just crawls amongst the cargo.
Last night, so yeah.
Curls up. in
I
a
have
position
no
with his,
problem
like,
allowing you
tail
to
coming in and covering
Try
the
and curl up
side
amongst
of
the
him.
goods.
He hugs it. Pulls the
I
blanket
think there's
over
a
himself.
blanket or two in there.
Oh, thank you.
And Nyx just
excellent.
sets the leftover bits of the river weed next to him, just like in case you need any more itch relief. Now here's a question: Well, I was just gonna ask. I've got 2 spell slots left. What do y'all think about me casting friendship on the other one, or do you think we just lead him along or hitch him to the back of the wagon to just lead him alongside? Alright.
I would say let's hitch him to the back for now and have him be led by the wagon.
Okay, to give you some framing for how the world travel works, consider the world map a dungeon. And as you move through it, you expend resources. One of those resources is your exhaustion points. Being on foot, you get 2 exhaustion. It can only go up to 2 from being on foot. So
just
if you
FYI,
travel
that
on
will
foot
give
one
you
day, you get 2 exhaustion. Travel on
disadvantage
foot the
on
next
all
day,
skill
you're still at
checks.
2. It's not going to stack.
For the first
And then
level. I think second
if
level
you
is
don't travel
disadvantage
the
on
next
attack
day,
rolls.
that temporary exhaustion just goes away. So traveling on foot is 2 points of exhaustion, on horseback is 1, and in a vehicle it's 0. Teha, since you can fly, you count as mounted.
Okay.
Ooh. Sweet.
Yeah. So like centaurs and Arakocra,
That's handy.
they are just natural travelers, so they count as mounted all the time.
That's nice. All right. I think we're about ready to roll out now that we got seating arrangements.
1d4, that would be next. Next, roll me a d100. Or no, before you do that, let's see if there is a random encounter. So roll me a d10. If it's below a 3, or let's go be below a 4. If it's below a 4, then there will be a random encounter.
Oh, it's a 1. I am so happy to get a 1.
Good. Good. Okay, this is fantastic. You guys get to learn about rocks.
Sweet.
Rocks
fuck.
in this... What was that?
Said, oh fuck.
So, rocks in this are known to be territorial and predators. They fight off other rocks and establish their own territory. They are often very aggressive towards large flying creatures. But if they see them as familiar, then they won't be aggressive. But they do really like horses and bison and things about that size. They usually don't care about medium-sized creatures. Like people are smaller. It's just not worth the calories to kill them. But they will swoop down and pick off axbeak, for example, or horses, or the mistaken wagon every now and then. And you guys are well within the territory of a rock right now. So what you see... Oh, actually, you don't see, because it is... This actually might really work out for you guys. It's still raining. 70 degrees out. Or no, it's 93. Very humid. And overcast with light drizzle, but mostly foggy. So what you guys see as you're making your way towards the river, and you can kind of see it ahead of you in this large sloping valley. The river spans out. It's about 500 feet wide, but still within another day's travel from where you're at. In the haze above you, you feel the sunlight dim. And looking up, you can see the fractured shadow of a giant rock, a wingspan of over 150 feet wide and the length of 80. This colossal bird, even at this altitude of 500 feet or so, still, to a limited extent, blots out the sun. You guys know what it likes to eat. And right now, you're out in the open. But it's a hazy, foggy day with rain. Makes it very hard to see you. How would you guys be reacting to this?
Teha, seeing the shadow, would turn to the rest of the group and tell them to try and get maybe closer to some cover, or closer to maybe even the cliff face if possible, just to give them a little bit of protection. And whatever side that they have protection on, he'll take the opposite side.
Okay, so you guys have moved away from the... Well, I don't know. Roll survival. Let's see if there's cliffs nearby. But what I'm imagining is like a scattered trees, kind of a light, like thin forest kind of thing. Like a river valley kind of forest. You know, that when it floods, it washes all the smaller trees away, and only the big stuff and the very young stuff exists.
Okay.
And tell me what you get.
10 and 14.
You've moved past the cliff faces. The only sort of immediate shelter it's like a bramble of bushes, kind of like low, like rose bushes, like a tangle bramble of bushes, and a tree that seems like it's dying. The top is withered branches, and there's only a few leaves about halfway up.
What's going on? Says Albert, poking his
I
head up.
tell the group, make for the tree. It'll at least give some protection.
What? How?
And we do so.
Did it?
There's a rock flying
like a-
overhead.
Stone. Oh.
Try and stay quiet.
Uh-oh.
Bird.
Yes, a bird rock. Do we have any of the leftover of the antelope still with us from the previous day?
Yeah, whatever you packed with you. It's not much, though.
I'm not looking for much. I'm looking for scent.
Well, you definitely got enough
And-
for that.
Okay. You guys, my friends, make for the tree. I will take the leftovers of the antelope and fly it another direction to the south. Hopefully, it'll help draw it away.
All right.
And grab the leftover antelope, take to the sky, and start flying south as fast as he can.
Okay. It rolled a nat 1 on its perception, so it misses the wagon entirely, and does pick up on the bait, and begins to kind of circle in that direction. And you still, the only reason you can see it is it's because it's above you, and the sunlight is filtering in through the clouds. But you get this distinct feeling that because it's looking down into the mist, into the fog, it can't really see you, that it's only really tracking by smell at this point.
Okay. I'll take it a good distance to the south and just drop it someplace that's somewhat in the open. The antelope.
Okay.
And then circle wide to the west and head back north to where the wagon is.
Okay. As it peels around to follow the bait, you can see it dart, and you hear a as it shoots by, a sonic boom. And can you roll me survival?
Yep.
Tell me a way you can get yourself advantage.
It keeps automatically doing advantage for whatever reason.
No, I'm not saying... I want to get you to that nat 20, and I'm wondering how we can get there.
Given that Teha is an Arakokra, he recognizes, the rock, obviously having one near his community as well. So he's aware of some of their hunting preferences and hunting patterns that they may take to get food.
Okay, I like that. Like a background feature. Like how charlatans have advantage on, like, pretending to be somebody else. Alright, so as it darts by at supersonic speed, you can see it's left some of its plumage, giant feathers, in its wake. They glisten with a magical energy.
I'll grab it. Any that I can.
Okay, so you're able to grab a pristine feather, and this isn't like the feathers from your roost. This one shimmers with chromatic light as the light hits it, like opalescent light is refracted by it.
I'll carry it very gently and reverently, being respectful that this is a larger predator and it's of similar nature to myself and my people. And I will go back to the group with it, landing, among them. My friends, it seems that the bait has worked and the rook has flown to what I left for it. But we're also very, dare I say, blessed. In my culture, the ancestors would say, gathering a feather such as this from a creature such as that rook, it's a sign that we've been granted a special gift. And I lay the feather out in front of them.
Can I touch it, Teha?
Please. Everyone should. At least put one hand on it. But do so with respect.
Of course. So Nyx is just going to reach out and place her hand gently on the feather.
Albert will crawl out of the wagon.
And just kind of close her eyes.
And do the same. Although he doesn't close his eyes.
Shepard approaches and gets down on his knees and holds a hand above it. And Natty comes up alongside you. Teha, you know, I can do some pretty cool stuff with this thing if you let me. Like, you can make arrows that don't miss. You can make it turn a spell away. I mean, these things, you know, this is very lucky.
Let us think about that for a little while. I want to make sure that we give this the proper respect it's due.
Her eye twitches a little bit.
Before we do anything.
And her ear twitches and it's like, well, okay, I can respect that. And then you hear a clink as she sheathes her carving knife.
Jeez.
Like, puts it away.
Albert yawns and says, "You know, this feather gives me an idea. I was thinking, if we're going to be traveling together for a while, we should have a name for ourselves. You know, something. We have to book a room or something, or make an account, or you know, declare our presence for whatever reason. I was thinking we should be the friends of a feather. They stick together, as my pa used to say."
I like that.
I believe that is a great name.
Very well. Friends of a feather we shall be.
Great. By the way, could this feather help poison oak rashes?